Joseph Hillstrom King, better known by the pen name Joe Hill, is an American author and comic book writer. He has published 4 novels: Heart-Shaped Box, Horns, NOS4A2 and The Fireman, and a collection of short stories titled 20th Century Ghosts. He is also the author of the comic book series Locke and Key.He. He is the son of authors Stephen and Tabitha King. Early life. Hill was born in 1972 to authors Tabitha and Stephen King. He was born in Herman, Maine and grew up in Bangor, Maine. His younger brother Owen is also a writer. At age 9, Hill appeared in the 1982 film Creepshow, directed by George A. Romero, which co-starred and was written by his father. Career. Hill chose to use an abbreviated form of his given name in 1997, out of a desire to succeed based solely on his own merits rather than as the son of Stephen King, one of the world's best-selling and most recognized living novelists. After achieving a degree of independent success, Hill publicly confirmed his identity in 2007 after an article the previous year in Variety broke his cover. Hill is a past recipient of the Ray Bradbury Fellowship. He has also received the William L. Crawford Award for Best New Fantasy Writer in 2006, the A.E. Copied Long Fiction Prize in 1999 for Better Than Home, and the 2006 World Fantasy Award for Best Novella for Voluntary Committal. His stories have appeared in a variety of magazines, such as Subterranean Magazine, Postscripts, and the High Plains Literary Review, and in many anthologies, including the Mammoth Book of Best New Horror and the year's Best Fantasy and Horror. Hill's first book, the limited edition collection 20th Century Ghosts, showcases 14 of his short stories and won the Bram Stoker Award for Best Fiction Collection, together with the British Fantasy Award for Best Collection and Best Short Story for Best New Horror. In October 2007, Hill's mainstream US and UK publishers reprinted 20th Century Ghosts without the extras published in the 2005 slipcased versions, but including one new story. Hill's first novel, Heart-Shaped Box, was published by William Morrow, HarperCollins on February 13, 2007 and by Victor Gollancz Limited in UK in March 2007. The novel reached number 8 on the New York Times bestseller list on April 1, 2007. When he began writing, Hill was well aware of the inevitable comparisons that would arise between his own work and that of his father, Stephen King, with the name King being synonymous with horror fiction. Stephen King had himself used a pen name, Richard Bachman, after he had become well established, explaining later in the short essay, Why Un was Bachman, that he felt he had to know whether he could re-achieve success as an author purely through the quality of his writing, as opposed to what perceived as the brand that had become established through his own name. Joseph King chose to take the same approach. Although many readers are now aware of the connection, his fiction has been widely praised, and many critics have stressed their own objectivity and lack of preconceptions when reviewing his works. On September 23, 2007, at the 31st FantasyCon, the British Fantasy Society awarded Hill the first ever Sidney J. Bounds Best Newcomer Award. Hill's first professional sale was in 1997. Among unpublished works is one partly completed with his father, But Only Darkness Loves Me, which is held with the Stephen King papers at the Special Collections Unit of the Raymond H. Fogler Library at the University of Maine in Orono, Maine. Hill is also the author of Locke and Key, a comic book series published by IDW Publishing. The first issue, released on February 20, 2008, sold out of its initial publication run in one day. A collection of the series in limited form from Subterranean Press sold out within 24 hours of being announced. Hill's second novel, Haunts, was published on February 16, 2010. A film based on the novel was released in 2014. NOS4A2, his third novel, was published on April 30, 2013. The novel peaked at number 5 on the New York Times bestseller list. Hill's fourth novel, called The Fireman, was released on May 17, 2016. Awards: Better Than Home, Voluntary Committal, 20th Century Ghosts, 20th Century Ghosts, 20th Century Ghosts, 20th Century Ghosts. Best New Horror, Best New Horror, Sidney J. Bound's Best Newcomer Award 2007. Heart-Shaped Box, Heart-Shaped Box. Bibliography, Novels and Collections. 20th Century Ghosts, Heart-Shaped Box, Haunts, NOS4A2. The Fireman, Strange Weather, Comics. Locke and Amp, Key, illustrated by Gabriel Rodriguez. Kodiak, one-shot co-written with Jason Chiaramella and illustrated by Nat Jones. The Cape, one-shot co-written with Jason Chiaramella and illustrated by Isaac Howard. The Cape miniseries co-written with Jason Chiaramella and illustrated by Isaac Howard. The Cape, 1969 miniseries co-written with Jason Chiaramella and illustrated by Nelson Daniel. Thumbprint, co-written with Jason Chiaramella. Wraith, Welcome to Christmasland miniseries illustrated by C.P. Wilson. 3. Shadow Show, Stories in Celebration of Ray Bradbury, by the Silver Water of Lake Champlain. One-shot, adapted by Jason Chiaramella, illustrated by C.P. Wilson. 3. Tales from the Dark Side, illustrated by Gabriel Rodriguez. Short stories. Dates by original magazine or anthology publication. The Lady Rests, Palace Corby. 7. The Collaborators, Implosion. 8. Better Than Home, A.E. copied long fiction prize series, stand-alone chapbook. The Saved, the Clackamas Literary Review, Spring-Summer Issue, Pop Art with Signs and Amp Wonders, Invisible Cities Press Anthology, 20th Century Ghost, The High Plains Literary Review, Journal's Final Issue, The Widow's Breakfast, The Clackamas Literary Review, Spring-Summer Issue. You Will Hear the Locusts Sing, The Third Alternative. 37. Abraham's Boys, The Many Faces of Van Helsing Anthology. The Black Phone, The Third Alternative. 39. Deadwood, Subterranean Press, February Online Newsletter. Last Breath, Subterranean Magazine. 2. Best New Horror, Postscripts. 3. Voluntary Committal, Subterranean Press, Stand-Alone Chapbook. In the Rundown, Crime Wave. 8. Scheherazad's Typewriter, 20th Century Ghosts within the book's Acknowledgements section. The Cape, 20th Century Ghosts, Original to Collection. My Father's Mask, 20th Century Ghosts, Original to Collection. Bobby Conroy Comes Back from the Dead. Postscripts. 5. Thumbprint, Postscripts. 10. Jude Confronts Global Warming, Subterranean Press Online Magazine, Spring Issue. Gunpowder, PS Publishing Stand-Alone Novella. Throttle, He Is Legend, an anthology celebrating Richard Matheson. Twittering from the Circus of the Dead, The New Dead, edited by Christopher Golden. The Devil on the Staircase, Stories, All New Tales, edited by Al Sarrantonio and Neil Gaiman. Wolverton Station, Subterranean, Tales of Dark Fantasy 2, edited by William Schaefer. In the Tall Grass, Esquire, June, July and August issues. By the Silver Water of Lake Champlain, Shadow Show, All New Stories in Celebration of Ray Bradbury, edited by Mort Castle and Sam Weller. Snapshot, 1988. Poetry, The Sundial Man. Anthology appearances. Below is a list of Hill's short fiction which has been reprinted. 20th Century Ghost, The Mammoth Book of Best New Horror, Volume 14 ed. Stephen Jones. My Father's Mask, the year's best fantasy and horror, 19th Annual Collection, ed. Ellen Datlow, Kelly Lincoln, Gavin Grant. Best New Horror, The Mammoth Book of Best New Horror, Volume 17, ed. Stephen Jones. The Cape Horror, The Best of the Year 2006 edition, ed. John Gregory Betancourt and Sean Wallace. Thumbprint, The Mammoth Book of Best New Horror, Volume 19, ed. Stephen Jones. Bobby Conroy Comes Back from the Dead, The Living Dead, ed. John Joseph Adams. 20th Century Ghosts Posed Children, The New Horror, ed. Peter Straub. Pop Art, American Fantastic Tales, Terror and the Uncanny from the 1940s to Now, ed. Peter Straub. Abraham's Boys, By Blood We Live, ed. John Joseph Adams. 20th Century Ghosts, The Mammoth Book of the Best of Best New Horror, ed. Stephen Jones. My Father's Mask, Darkness, 2 Decades of Modern Horror, ed. Ellen Datlow. Throttle, The Mammoth Book of Best New Horror, Volume 21, ed. Stephen Jones. Miscellaneous credits. Pop Art was reprinted in 2007 by Subterranean Press as a chapbook featuring illustrations by Garn Wilson. As well, 52 lettered hardcovers and 150 numbered soft-covered chapbooks were signed by Hill. Fanboys, a comic script, was written for Spider-Man Unlimited 8. The story was illustrated by Seth Fisher. The Save, first published in the Clackamas Literary Review in 2001 and also as part of the bonus material included in the 2005 deluxe slipcased edition of 20th Century Ghosts, was reprinted in December 2007 as part of PS Publishing's annual holiday chapbook series, available free of charge to subscribers of the quarterly magazine Postscripts. Thumbprint, first published in Postscripts number 10 in 2007, was reprinted as a chapbook in summer 2008 to accompany the anthology Subterranean Tales of Dark Fantasy, published by Subterranean Press. Hill was selected to serve as the guest editor of the first volume of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt's series, The Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy Tales from the Dark Side. Script book will be published in 2016, collecting 3 original scripts of the failed TV series reboot. Screenwriting credits: Fade Away, Tales from the Dark Side, adaptations. Pop Art directed by Amanda Boyle. Abraham's Boys directed by the Duffer Brothers. Horns directed by Alexandra Adja.